Hal. Hi. I'm not a wordsmith. I work with pictures. I work with words too, but in a different way. Yeah, hello. So this is the way I work with words, which is drawing them most of the time. And when I was sort of responding to this brief, which I was doing, I actually responded to the brief, I was thinking about click. I'm going to make the sound and then hopefully the slides will change. I was kind of thinking about what I do, because you know, whenever you have to go up and stand up on a stage, you've got to give yourself a bit of context. So I would say that I'm a jack of all trades. I'm not amazing at anything, but I'm okay at quite a lot of different things. I run a design studio that's 2 years old, called Studio Moross in Camden, and we specialize in work for the music industry. So we do music videos, record labels, sleeves, club flyers, anything that is a problem, we can fix it. So another thing that I think every designer is, and every creative person is a collector of ideas, collector of images, collector of music, whatever that is. I mean, in fact, everybody here is probably a collector of something. And I think that is a very personal thing, and it comes into your kind of personal archive of where your great ideas come from. So here's just a few bits and pieces of my work to kind of give some context, some words drawn on the screen, some triangles, which I was known for a while, which I've left behind. Click. Some other things that I do, like come up with ideas to make products that are sold for things, for money. I make music videos, I get to work with artists, and I choose to work with artists that are creative in themselves and have their own ideas also. And click. I also, for a brief period of time, ran my own record label until realizing that vinyl at the time was a black hole and was basically just negative bank numbers. So I stopped my record label in favor of designing records for other labels, which I still do to this day and enjoy very much. So great ideas. You said good ideas in yours, but it was great ideas, right? I mean, what's the difference between a good and a great idea? I'm not sure. Has anybody here ever had an idea where they thought, that is a great idea for an app, a product, a record sleeve? Raise your hand. So quite a lot of you. Now the key to great ideas is not having great ideas, it's executing them. So one thing that I think all great ideas come from are great problems. And as a designer, especially one that's been to art school, we call problems briefs, and we call reactions to problems concepts. That's what ideas are in the art school world. So I have, as a career, made my career out of solving problems. So I'm not saying that I have great ideas, I'm saying I have ideas, concepts, that are a response to great problems. So just a little example, the brief for this project was, we want it to feel really happy. So, you know, that was my response. Not a great idea, but just a reaction to a brief. And this record sleeve is, the single was called Choose Your Own Adventure. So I made a little story and lots of little characters, and you could choose which path you went on. So everything within a brief kind of can give you a solution, give you ideas for design. And for me, as a designer, again, just like everybody else has said before, they always get asked where their ideas come from and what inspires them. And I make a point of refusing to answer that question. I think inspiration is a fucking horrible word. It doesn't really mean anything to me. I think that I don't go to art galleries, I don't read magazines, I watch a lot of television, and I wouldn't necessarily say that's where culture comes from, but for me, I absorb things completely naturally, just like we all do, walking down the street, advertising, media, going on the internet, looking around. I don't have these sort of epiphany moments where I'm just like, that was inspiring. That's not who I am. I am a gut reaction kind of girl. So for me, somebody gives me a problem and I almost unconsciously come up with a solution. And maybe I'm blessed, maybe not, maybe I'm cursed because I can never get away from my gut reaction, but that is how I respond to problems. So for me, problem solving, coming up with a concept, having ideas is a reflex. And often for me, that reflex is best in person, directly in front of my client. And that would probably terrify most people. But if I'm in front of somebody and they say, Kate, we have this problem, we need you to solve it, I'm like, here's the solution. And for some reason, everything sort of just slots into place in front of me, and I can sort of find the answer without really looking for it. And that's usually because I have a good problem. And I always say to people, if you're stuck for an answer or a response, your problem isn't good enough. So you need to research your problem, and you need to make your problem better, and then you'll have a better response. Now, another key thing in design or in any creative field in responding to problems is how you communicate your answer. Now, like I said before, I asked you to raise your hand if you had a great idea. If you can't communicate that idea, if you can't sit down and tell somebody what your idea is, it's not going to go anywhere. So communication and learning how to discuss and present your ideas is an incredibly important skill that you will learn through experience and through executing ideas and learning the world around your idea and how you can kind of deliver that. And execution is what I do every day. I get a lot of problems and I have to make a lot of executions. At our studio, we might have to deliver 12 things in one day to a client, whatever that may be, whether it's a final cut of a music video or if it's a banner for Facebook or whatever it is, we have to execute them, and we have to execute them well, because that's what we get paid to do. Click. Now, this is a very important word, and I think it's been mentioned a couple times before this evening, but simplicity is crucial. Now, I think especially in the improvisation talk, being obvious is absolutely fine. Being simple is amazing. Simplicity is one of the most important things in design and something not to be disregarded. Making things complicated doesn't make them better ideas. And things like some responses that I thought of when I thought of simplicity were, for example, this video that I did with Jessie Ware, where she said to me, why can't we just do a one-take video? I mean, apart from the fact that a couple of people had done it before, it worked for the song. So this was a simple response to a very simple brief. Another example of a project was Simio Mobile Disco on Patterns, where we just simply had a moving sleeve, and as you pulled the record sleeve out of the casing, you created a dance in the patterns called Moross. And, you know, again, very straightforward, very simple, 2-3 colors, and that's your album cover. Now, another simple response. You know, this is design. It's a connection. It's this curve between an idea and the final execution, and that very simple arc between the two, which is solving the problem. Now, another thing that we're taught not to do in school is to be fast. So we're not supposed to be simple, and we're not supposed to be fast. Two of the most important things in the commercial design world we're taught not to do from a very early age. But those two things, I think, are crucial in responding to briefs and also coming up with great ideas. So this is an example. I was on the phone to Jessie Ware's manager. He was like, okay, we have a billboard place in Broadway Market, and we need an interactive billboard, but we can't use technology. Okay, maybe we just do polka dots and we get people to color them in. And we did it. We had like an hour to turn around the graphics to get printed. And, you know, it worked really well. And it didn't matter that I came up with that idea in 5 seconds or if I'd taken 10 hours to do it. Ultimately, in a commercial world, you have to kind of think that quickly. So that's a little example of that. Click. And my final point, and I knew I was going to race through this so that we can have lots of time for Q&A at the end, because I hate talking about things that I'm not very good at talking about, like great ideas, which I don't have very often. But I think, you know, not enough people put stress on this thing. I think white noise, something talking to you, something taking away the visual stress, the constant idea generation or the constant thought process that you have. Somebody just talking to you or something to watch is also a very good thing for the mind to just stop thinking and just start watching and calm down a little bit, which is probably what I need to do. And that's it.